What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So finally, we're going to be getting season 11 today. From the time you're watching this video, and there are all the details about what's going to be changing, the Ninja Backpack, all of that stuff. But I wanted to talk about something specifically that I think has come full circle for me, and I think the developers always continue to follow this methodology, and that is their goal to try to make the Dark Zone appealing. I think the major thing that gives the Dark Zone its appeal or attraction is the what I would call the drama involved. I mean, one minute you're trying to extract, the next minute there's a whole shakedown. You're shooting a bunch of other players or enemy NPCs have taken you out. Your loot's now on the floor. These are the things that actually do make the Dark Zone kind of thrive. Seeing how the developers have already also gone ahead to put the Eagle Bear in the Dark Zone as one place for people to get it with, what they call difficulty, I think it's another thing that's trying to maybe have them lean or appeal to this particular notion that, going in the Dark Zone is where you're going to be getting this particular weapon from. Also, the developers have made another change where all of the loot in the Dark Zone is going to be contaminated. At first, some of the loot was not contaminated, so apparently I think they sat there and said, you know what, we're not sleeping well. We got to make all the loot contaminated for everyone. So they decided to go with this notion. It's just one of those things, man. This is what the Dark Zone is designed to do. This is what in their mind, the appeal is possibly going to always be. And they're making the changes to constantly showcase this. I remember a lot of creators here and a lot of people in the community were talking about the Dark Zone and talking about some of the challenges with how they're not balancing some of the gear sets and balancing some of the skills. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they drag their feet on purpose in order for them to be able to continue to keep that fantasy where you were always on edge within the Dark Zone, that there were all these measures that continue to always somewhat fight against you. This is one of the reasons I don't play the PvP in the Division 1, and even I never played much of it in the Division 2 at all, because the PvP mechanics are not definitive. I usually prefer a more definitive PvP. I play fighting games, so that gives you an experience where you actually have to have skill to be able to show that your skill came out. Whereas here in the Dark Zone, everything is arbitrary. You can't necessarily always tell who's got the skill and who doesn't. If they leave a big fat shrapnel trap for you and your crew, how are you to know, what the, reasoning behind it is, and if the person truly has enough skill to be able to come at you? And, there are all kinds of variables. So this is just one of the things that made it not necessarily interest me. I can also understand that it interests a lot of people, so the developers continue to make it this seething and simmering dramatic environment. Everything is designed for maximum, I don't know, maximum salt in the sense. Your extraction can be caught and all of that stuff. And seeing the changes that they made yesterday and how long it took them to make the changes, I was wondering if they'd have to maybe make some kind of a counterbalance overall, and it appears that they did. I do like running the Dark Zone, however. I like, the environment. I like the way things work. I like the way enemy NPCs spawn. I like the way you're able to get a lot of quick XP. I'm also in favor of them bringing the XP, levels to Conflict, because that's a really big deal. It appears to me like they were also holding this back for some strange reason. I know not why, but I think they finally got their minds right in regard to all of this stuff. But I thought I'd bring this to light. I thought we'd talk about this real quick because, it's something to see when they're going forward and moving, their PvP side of the game quite slowly compared to the PvE side. I mean, I've made the argument that, this is not something that I think the developers are really going to prioritize. I remember when I used to make this argument like years ago, telling people like, yo, it doesn't seem to me like the Division's PvP is a top priority to them because they can't really monetize the PvP content as much. It's there to provide some kind of a lure for players to come in and, engage in what the Dark Zone and the PvP modes are. But when it comes to actually selling, or making money, it's the PvE content that they have. I mean, you should have seen them yesterday. They were talking about the different skins, and then they said, oh yeah, we made a change where we have our masks and the lighting of the game looking good because, the presentation is better. And I'm like, man, people are asking for changes in the PvP. Y'all are actually tweaking a mask, which shows me that their priorities is exactly where it is, where they can pretty much monetize any aspect that they can within the game, and areas that can't necessarily be monetized, they're taking the back burner. It's just like even the extra PvP content, like the specializations that they actually did promise and so on and so forth. Those things are not necessarily going to be coming in with extra content now. So it's going to be very challenging for us to see them do it for free, but they already kind of like proposed doing it. So I think they're bound by their words in a sense. So this is where the division PvP has been, in my own view. This is what I've seen lately from the devs, and this is how I think they're going to be running things from now henceforth, which also makes extra sense why they want to go ahead and take this game the Heartland way, which is going to be a free-to-play where a major part of that game can be monetized. I think this is what they want to go ahead and continue to do. Now, for us in the looter shooter community, I'm not saying that the monetization is a problem. I'm just saying if you kind of shake everything down to the core foundation, this is exactly where you're going to see things. And yesterday, watching the report, I did watch it afterwards. I was going to kind of watch it when they were doing it, but I thought I'd take my time. It's obvious that this is one thing they want to do. Another thing that they talked about that was very interesting, and you could tell, was the fact that the PC community had been complaining about crashes for multiple seasons now, multiple title updates. They finally said, Morten Ryberg finally said that they've decided, or they found out all the issues and are bringing in game engineers, engine engineers, render engineers to come in and deal with the issues. I know they have these staff on site, but I'm sure these staff are probably modifying the engine, tweaking stuff to help their Avatar and Star Wars game. So it appears that they're probably going to be bringing them in because they already said that these people, are able to do the job. So in my opinion, it meant that these folk have the experience and the exposure to be able to get the game working from ground up. So I'm thinking, okay, it appears that it's probably trying to, I would say, it appears that it's starting to hurt their bottom line in terms of player counts dropping on PC. And then they're finally starting to realize, yo, man, we got to get this stuff done. Even if we're working with a skeleton team, we have to pretty much move things into play. So this is how we're going to be seeing improvements made overall throughout the game. First of all, it's going to be by ease. How easy is it for them to implement? Does it line up with their priorities? And then second of all, is it going to be beneficial monetarily at this point in the game for the developers? But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me hear your thoughts about the Eagle Bear and all of that, how they've put that in the Dark Zone as well too, to increase the encounter possibilities, even though the drop rate's low, how they've basically gone back to change all the gear to contaminated gear, and all of the steps that they're taking right now and how slow it's been overall. Appreciate y'all for watching the video, and we'll talk pretty soon, hopefully in the next one. Peace out.